We're driving a Mazda CX-90. It's all new for 2024. Coming up, we're going to judge whether or not this thing is family friendly. Kiddo, are you ready to judge? But first, information explosion. The CX-90 is a mid-size, 3-row SUV with premium aspirations. Let's begin with interior.
In this color palette, it's really reaching those premium aspirations, in my opinion. I really like the look of this wood.
Run the graphic. No, it's not wood.
I also really appreciate when they cover over the drink holders to make it just more decorative, less utilitarian, but the functionality is there if you need it.
So you're not afraid people are going to discover that you drink liquids, right? It's just a style thing?
Exactly.
Another element I like is the inclusion of enough physical buttons that it's easy to interact with the vehicle. You don't have to do everything through a screen. Oh, and also mention that we're driving a nicer version, which explains the Napa leather seating. There are enough varied colors and textures that it feels like a curated experience. One complaint I have is the little metal surround on the gear selector. At certain sun angles, it shoots right into my eyes. When I first picked this thing up, I found myself driving with my hand covering it.
One detail that I really like, you always seem to drive with your arm resting on the armrest.
I mean, besides right now, but yes. Okay, here, carry on, making your point.
And I always like to have access. With this functionality, I can access it while you're resting.
You really shifted into like an infomercial space right there. Wow, that's incredible. How do you find the front seats in terms of comfort?
They're a little bit on the firm side, which I don't mind, but other than that, I find them comfortable.
My only critique is that the bottom should extend a little bit further forward by my knees. They're not getting the support they knees. Sorry. That happened. I finally got into dad joke space. I like how you're comforting me, like I've been injured.
Hey, what about me? You should comfort me.
I know, we all
she has to listen to this.
comforted.
Moving to the second row, I find plenty of headspace. The seats slide and recline, so it's easy to get into a comfortable position. Oh, this GoPro has stopped recording prematurely. And if you'd like a GoPro that will also stop recording prematurely, click the affiliate link below. They're unreliable, but what are you gonna do?
Buy them if they're unreliable.
That's right, kiddo. As I was saying, we've got the second row captain's chairs, which makes it easy for our child to crawl into the third row without having to move the second row seats. Let's say you had a child seat installed. However, I have noticed you can slide the second row seats if there's just a booster in place without having to remove them. If you had a child seat installed, then I would long for that tilt and fold feature that you find like in the Nissan Pathfinder. Kiddo, how do you find climbing into this vehicle, into the second row? And is it pretty easy to also get into the third row?
Yeah.
Oh, also in the second row, we've got adjustable armrests on the inboard side, and then a little flip-out drink holder.
I really like that because it doesn't impede access to the third row if you're not using it.
Now, if we move back to the third row, that's where things get a little bit tricky. Unless the person in the second row is generous and slides forward, knee room in the third row is going to be minimal. Headroom is workable, but not generous. And then in the middle position, I can sit there, but my head's brushing up against that headliner. And then one area of concern, size-wise, in the third row is width. I don't think you could have 3 adults back there comfortably. So if you want to put 3 humans back there, make sure they're tiny.
Like me.
That's right, kiddo. The Mazda CX-90 is offered an 8, 7, and 6 passenger variants. Interestingly, depending on which trim you get, Mazda will give you your 3-seat bench in either the second or third row, and I'm not sure why they decided to do that. It's very weird. As for cargo, there are about 16 cubic feet behind the third row, and man, those third row seats are so easy to drop. There's a small underfloor storage area in our PHEV where you can store your charging paraphernalia, though it's pretty cozy under there. Oh, and this particular trim has a foot-activated lift gate, and it works incredibly well. That's not always the case with those hands-free lift gates. Sweetie, what about getting the booster seat installed? Is it easy?
It is, and the door opens wide enough that I think even getting a standard child seat would be fairly simple. The latch points are covered with plastic covers, which remove easily, which would also make them easy to lose. Other than that, simple install.
As for safety, neither the NHTSA nor IIHS have rated the CX-90 yet, but it does include an active suite of driver assist, including lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot warning, plus there are 8 airbags. It also has an exit assist feature that'll warn you if something's coming up from behind. And just so you know, full speed adaptive cruise control is also standard. Family, in the beginning of the video, we said we were going to judge whether the CX-90 was family friendly. How do we judge it? Child?
Family friendly.
Medium, sweetie?
Family friendly.
I concur. The Muzios have decreed the CX-90 family friendly.
Big family friendly.
Yeah, big family friendly. Rear window test. As far as it'll go? Good try. Boop. Armrest test. Driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, I had easy access to the inboard and outboard armrests. This could be better padded, certainly squishier on the outboard though. I'm gonna go 90% outboard and 75% inboard. Hey, would you like to see more videos like this where we review cars as a family, plus the occasional helicopter adventure? If so, you are welcome to subscribe. Style!
So it still is clearly Mazda with the big grille up front and the way the chrome trim comes around, but it looks different.
It's evolved.
It's changing.
It is changing.
Excuse me, did you say grill? Make me some hot dogs.
You got it, kiddo.
Who's delivering the dad jokes now?
Dad joke.
I think the style of the CX-90 is not so much defined by like lines and swooshes and flourishes, but really more about proportions. The long hood, the kind of weighty rear. There is contouring, so you can see, different, play with like light and shadow, but proportionally it is conveying a message of premium vehicle. The long hood also hints at the fact that an inline 6-cylinder engine comes standard. There is a suggestion of what the vehicle is supposed to do, how it's supposed to perform. If you're curious, by the way, the color of this particular vehicle, rhodium white metallic. I don't know what a rhodium is, but it's $600.
When I first saw it in that maroon color, I didn't like it.
No.
But it's grown on me.
The CX-90 has grown on us, but how do you feel? Do you like the Mazda CX-90 style? If so, if no, tell us in the comment section. In motion. Really quickly, let's thank the sponsor for today's video, Flying Eyes Sunglasses. I'm not going to tell you all the details, other than they're made out of a special material called Resilimide that is patented and no other sunglass company can make them, and they do this kind of stuff. If you're curious what Resilimide means for eyewear comfort, both in the helicopter and our real lives, click the link in the description below, and if you're ready for aviation grade eyewear, you can use the promo code to save 10%. The promo code's Micah. Flying Eyes.
Flying eyes.
Flying Eyes. As we make our way around our little town that had all the road damage from wintertime, and you feel these like little bumps, I think to myself, should I be feeling this? If the premise of the CX-90 is that this is a sporty vehicle, then yes, I should feel some of these little like road imperfections. That then leads into, it is a slow steering ratio. Mazda's previous premise about driving joy and zoom zoom and all that stuff has really tapered off in recent years in favor of stability, predictability, confidence when steering. So if when I steer, and this is very much the case, I'm feeling predictability but not a sense of joy, why am I feeling those little road imperfections? It feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect between what the suspension is feeding me and what the steering and handling dynamics are feeding me. This is where I need to talk to an engineer, but I don't have one. So
all you got is me.
Bill, you'll have to do. Sweetie, should the suspension be a little softer?
I don't know. Does it feel like a man riding a horse?
Jinba Ita. Checking Horse and Riders
Yes.
1. That's very, oh man, oh boy. You guys, my lady made a Jinba Ita reference. I've never been more attracted to her.
Oh.
Enhancing the CX-90's stability while cornering, something called kinematic posture control. Mazda is really good about this, about using all of the resources available to them to enhance whatever experience they're trying to create. In this case, it brakes the inside rear tire, and because of suspension geometry, it actually pulls that tire up a little bit, which helps minimize body roll when cornering. Now, let's test something. I'm going to come to a complete stop here, and then I'm going to floor. Count me down, kiddo.
3, 2, 1.
Floored. Whee! Okay. Okay.
There's a lot to process there.
A lot to unpack. That was not in any way a smooth delivery of power. The electric motor's doing a thing and the gasoline engine's doing a thing, and they're not really speaking to each other. The gear changes kind of abrupt. I noticed this on the drive for the introduction of the CX-90. The inline 6-cylinder version I found to be kind of an effortless feeling, powerful vehicle. Really enjoyed that powertrain delivery. The PHEV, it feels unfinished to me. In terms of ultimate power, that combination of the electric motor and the gasoline engine is strong, but sometimes it does what I expect and sometimes it doesn't. Last powertrain thought, let's go ahead and put it into EV mode. I want you guys to experience what this is like when I floor it, and I'm only using the electric motors. Ready? Here's floor. Ready, set, whee! That's it.
That is not what I expected.
Not at all. No. The electric motor here is really meant to supplement the gasoline engine, but if you're driving in that pure EV mode, floored.
Wow.
It does not have the pull of a proper EV. So if you're using that EV mode, just know that if you need full acceleration, there's a little kickdown detent on the accelerator, and then if you really need to go fast, the gasoline engine will eventually join the party. Last thing for me, I've noticed that the brakes do have some of that spongy hybrid quality, but if I want to come to a complete stop, I do feel like I've got adequate control over that pedal, and there we go. Nice. All right, that's what I think. What does Sweetie think? Sweetie's at the wheel. You've had occasional uncomfortable relationships with electronic drive selectors. What do you feel when you do this one?
The left side is park, and on the right side, drive, neutral, and reverse. I have, on 2 occasions, put it forward into reverse because my muscle memory tells me that's park, and taken my foot off the brake and then gone, oh no.
This is the challenge of having a completely logical solution that opposes what everybody has already done.
Yes.
They do have a feature that's supposed to keep the vehicle from driving off when it's in drive. I tested that out a couple times and it didn't actually work. It was inconsistent. So let's hope that the next time you put it in reverse and then you decide to leap out of the vehicle, that system works. All right, put it in drive. Let's get moving. Tell me, how do you find steering efforts?
They don't seem excessively heavy to me.
Interestingly, I had a perception that it was maybe a little bit heavier steering, but if you're feeling good, then I'm feeling good. As you make your way around this road that has a little bit of growth, so it's squeezing it down, how do you feel about the size of the CX-90?
We swapped cars, I drove it to shoot it, and I was surprised to see that there was a third row in this.
You said, when you told me, you said you were shocked.
I was shocked. It felt like a easy breezy 2-row kind of SUV. I feel like it drives like a smaller vehicle than it is.
You found enough power driving the CX-90 around?
I have found that there's enough power to get me out ahead of traffic on our blind turns, which is all I require.
Any visibility issues looking out of the vehicle?
Visibility is good all around.
Overall, you're feeling good about driving the CX-90?
I like driving the CX-90.
Brilliant. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Overall, the CX-90 has a lot of positives to its driving character, but if it were me, just from a pure driving perspective, I'd probably go with that inline 6. Oh, and I should also add, there is an off-road drive mode, but with 21-inch tires, I would be very hesitant to take this thing off-road in a meaningful way. Moving onward to emotion factor. Whenever I drive a car and I think about emotion, I think fun, and that's not really the play here, but there is a confidence, and I think confidence is an emotion. What other emotions do you think might be found here?
This is such a nice combination of a premium feeling vehicle that's also super user-friendly.
I would agree. I think there is a style component both inside and out that does make it feel more than just a mainstream 3-row midsize SUV. And the fact that you can actually use all this stuff is a really nice element to boot. We think there's some emotion to be mined here in the CX-90, but what do you think? Are you feeling emotionally drawn to buy a CX-90 of your very own? If you are, you might need to sell your current car first. Click the Kelly Blue Book pricing link in the description below to know what you should pay for your next CX-90 and what you can get for your current car. Moving onward to remarks. Remark number 1, infotainment. There is a standard 10.25-inch screen or the optional 12.3-inch screen that we have here.
Generally, I prefer a touchscreen over a knob interface, but this one is so simple that I found it really easy to navigate. I also really appreciate that when you're in Apple CarPlay, which is inherently touchable, you can actually touch it.
I will say it is a long reach, but there have been times where it's like, I'm gonna have to scroll a really long time to get to that thing. Maybe I'll just lean forward and touch it. It's really nice to have that option. And let me do a second round of kudos. Mazda's created a very, very simplified interface to where using this knob actually is pretty darn easy. Looking at general automotive trends, I won't be surprised if eventually it's just a straight up touchscreen in Mazdas of the future, but for now I think this works well. Our tester has the optional 360-degree camera system, and I very much appreciate the extra visibility it gives me around the vehicle. Our vehicle also has the optional 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, and it offers plenty of useful information.
One complaint, as soon as you get into the CX-90 and turn the vehicle on,
bling, bling, bling,
exactly.
bling. It doesn't give you time to put on your seatbelt. It's crazy, right?
It is.
Mazda, I appreciate your commitment to safety, but if you gave me like a 5 Mississippi to get my seatbelt on before the chime comes on, that would be so appreciated. And now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, the Muzio family smell test. Our daughter doesn't like new car smell, and we know some people might agree with her. Kiddo, how do you feel about the smell of the Mazda CX-90? Is it good, bad, or just okay? And that was the Muzio family smell test. All right, let's talk engine choices. The base engine is a 3.3-liter inline 6-cylinder turbocharged engine that's also a 48-volt mild hybrid. That same engine is also offered in a more powerful version they call the Turbo S. Then there's the plug-in hybrid that we've got here. It'll do 26 miles under electric power alone, and after you exhaust that electric range, 25 mpg combined fuel economy. Regardless of engine, all-wheel drive comes standard across the entire CX-90 lineup. Premium fuel is required for maximum power, and if you want to tow, the inline 6 tows up to 5,000 pounds. Meanwhile, the plug-in hybrid tops out at 3,500 pounds, just like the 2 lowest inline 6-cylinder trims. Sweetie,
Yeah.
can I give you a trim recommendation?
Sure.
Our trim recommendation is which CX-90 trim will give you the features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. For our trim recommendation, we're going with the base Select trim. That includes a 10.25-inch infotainment screen, 3-zone automatic climate control, keyless access, a feature I won't live without, plus the inline 6-cylinder engine that I love so much. If you're thinking about premium SUVs, the CX-90 is cheaper than the Acura MDX and Genesis GV80. If you're comparing the CX-90 to mainstream 3-row SUVs, those would be names like the Kia Telluride, Ford Explorer, and Honda Pilot. And if you'd like to see that Honda Pilot review, you can click right up here. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. Synopsis! In thinking about the essence of the Mazda CX-90, it is new to the scene, it is talented, and it has aspirations to be something elite. To me, it is the Lil Dicky of mid-sized 3-row SUVs. I wonder how many people are going to know what I'm talking about there. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the CX-90. May I have a 5 and a 5, and you! Come get your high five. Bam!